What up, y'all? It's the homie Dame, and yeah, you read the title right. This is exactly what we're doing. We're talking about LiSA. She's a very popular Japanese singer, and she has performed a lot of very popular anime openings. And in this video, I'm gonna rate every anime opening she's done on my usual scale of, I don't know, 1 to 5, I guess. Actually, you know what? This time let's do tiers. You know, S tier, A tier, B tier, all that, because that's what the kids like these days, isn't it? But anyway, if you're new to the channel, I usually rate anime openings based on, you know, mainly the music, because that's kind of my thing. But I think before we even get into it, I should talk about what makes LiSA herself such a good singer, and, you know, what the appeal of her voice is and all that, right? Because to me, and you know, I don't know if she writes her own songs or if she produces her own stuff, but it's important that whatever song that she's singing on, whatever instrumentation that she's over, or whatever production she's singing on matches her voice and highlights the best parts of her voice, right? That should be obvious. If you look on Wikipedia, you can see that she has a lot of alternative rock / punk or pop punk type of influences, which makes sense because 1, that fits her style of voice, and 2, it fits the sort of J-rock style that a lot of anime openings like to have. So just off me listening by ear, like on some general impressions type thing, like I can see that her vocal range is pretty damn wide. Like she can go all the way from that lower C6 range, that kind of alto range, all the way up to soprano. And actually her hitting those kind of lower, grittier notes and going into that deeper range is a relatively new development as far as I know. As you know, as she's gotten older, if you don't know, she was very much the cutesy type of voice early on in her career, and also in a lot of the anime openings that you'll probably hear in this video. To me, the real strengths of LiSA come from her live performances, right? She has a lot of stamina, she has a lot of vocal control, so she can really deliver these breathtaking live performances, but obviously that's irrelevant here because we're going to be listening to studio recordings, but even then, it's easy to see the power and the texture that her voice can bring to a song. So all that being said, those are the things that make LiSA's voice great for me personally, so seeing how well she pulls it off in these anime openings and how the production complements her is going to be a big part of my ratings. So let's get into these ratings right after this ad that I'll probably put in because I like when people give me money to sarcastically talk about their products. But before we continue, I want to give a big thank you to the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes ranging from things like creative writing all the way to indoor gardening. I've always been someone who thinks that you should take advantage of every opportunity to learn something new, right? That's why I enjoy using Skillshare to kind of level up the skills that I use for some of my side hustles. For example, I'm a YouTuber, right? I hope that doesn't come as a surprise to you, considering you're watching this. But it didn't start out that way. You know, this whole YouTube thing kind of came about as an accident, so I won't lie in saying that I kind of don't know what I'm doing. But using Skillshare, I can learn from people like Marquise Brownlee and his class on YouTube success. Obviously, there's a whole bunch more where that came from, and all the while, Skillshare is ad-free so that you can stay in the zone. And there are also new premium classes launched each week. So if you're interested in improving your own skills, I would highly recommend joining Skillshare. There will be a link in the description below, and hey, the first 1,000 people to use the link or my code will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So again, if you're interested in, you know, getting your skills up, learning something new, join Skillshare. Okay, first on the list, oh, and mind you, I've seen like every anime LiSA has done an opening for, at least I think so. I literally just looked up LiSA all anime openings, and I'm just going off this My Anime list, so if I miss anything, let me know in the comments, and I probably won't do anything because I don't care, but comment anyway. The first one, oh, this is chronological, nice. This is the second opening from Angel Beats called My Soul, Your Beats. This is the one that really made her pop off, because if I remember, this was shortly after she like left her band that she used to be in. I don't know, don't quote me, but yeah, this is the opening that introduced the anime world to LiSA. So yeah, this is a classic opening to, of course, a classic show, but oh, if you didn't know, this is like a cover remix of the original, like the actual Angel Beats OP that they used for like 1 episode or something. It's called the Girls Dead Monster version. I think this sounds fine. And I'll let it play a bit in the background, enough so that I don't get copyrighted. But to me, this song doesn't sound as good as like a straight up rock song. Like the guitar intro doesn't sound as iconic as the piano intro, but it still sounds cool, you know, like the songwriting is the same, the lyrics I think are mostly the same. As for LiSA herself, you can tell that she really wants to start like singing, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, during the verse, she puts on her signature vibrato on some notes, but they're all on the low side, so it comes off as a bit awkward. Once it gets into the hook is where we get more of that LiSA sound that we know today, because that's where she really shines with these passionate and like big bombastic vocals. I don't know, this is just like okay to me, so I'm gonna say C tier. Okay, the next opening she did is for one of my favorite shows of all time. It is the opening for Fate Zero called Oath Sign. Now, this is where we get into that really like iconic LiSA sound, right? Even just looking at the instrumental, it has a very alt-rock pop-punk sound to it with very heavy electric guitars and drums, and it sounds very like anime opening-y. Thinking back, Fate Zero came out in like what, 2011, right? The beginning of the decade. And this was around the time anime was becoming much more of a mainstream force in the West. And like I said, this song is very anime opening-y, right? And I mean, it's not the first anime to use this type of opening sound, or not even the most popular, but you can't deny that this is the type of sound that kind of defined a lot of anime openings for like the past decade, which you know, is a large part of why LiSA is looked at as being sort of synonymous with the modern anime opening. And here you could really like hear LiSA in her bag and in her element, hitting that higher range of her voice and basically having like free reign to go wild with her vocals with that perfect instrumentation that's backing her up. The highlight of this song for me is where she's singing those like quick multi-syllable vocal notes around this part. And again, I'll play it for a bit, but go listen to it on your own so I don't get striked by YouTube. Yeah, I mean, it's all great. I'm gonna say that this is A tier. Not quite at the top, since the melody isn't that striking to me, but everything else is on point. Next, we have what you may consider to be the most famous entry on this list. Well, I mean, it was at one point. Now there are more recent openings that she might be more famous for. It's Crossing Field from Sword Art Online. You know what this opening is, let's be real. When you Google best anime openings, I'm sure this is always on the list. Or when you go on YouTube videos where one of those losers reacts to anime openings, who would be lame enough to do that? This is one of those that they always react to. Now, you can think what you want about Sword Art. I personally don't give a fuck. It's fine. Whatever. I don't hate it like many people seem to, but it's actually probably the perfect definition of mid that I can think of. Literally something that's not bad, but not good either. But that's a topic for a different video. This is a great opening. I guess we can start from the part everybody knows, which is the like iconic, catchy, melodic chorus where again, LiSA's in her bag because she loves doing these big, epic hooks, right? One thing you'll notice in a lot of these is that LiSA likes to do these fifth interval melodic things where she's singing. You could hear it in the chorus here and here in the verse. And again, someone can tell me in the comments, but I don't know if she writes her own songs. I know she at least writes her own lyrics, but I don't know if she comes up with the melodies or anything. But yeah, this is something you'll hear her do in a lot of the openings we see on this list. I guess you can see it as something to, you know, showcase her range. She hits high notes and low notes in quick succession, and it also gives her a chance to show off the vocal power. She'll often put a lot of emphasis on and gusto in that first high note and then hold on the low note and really make it resonate, you know, it sounds great. But yeah, this is a dope opening. The song structure is fun, the instruments are energetic, and like I already said, the melody is very catchy, very much an earworm. So the S tier, I guess, one of my favorites. Next one is called Traumere from the show, oh Jesus, Gene wo Kakeru Tai. It's Daybreak Illusion. That's the show. And I guess it's a pretty good show. A lot of people call it the successor to Madoka Magica, maybe even a ripoff, dare say. But I don't know, I think it's cool. If you like magical girl shows, you should watch it. And as for this opening, it sounds like a LiSA song. I mean, what else? Okay, since this is one that not a lot of people remember, if you go listen to it right now, it's got really breakneck drums. It sounds faster paced than a normal LiSA opening, even though it's probably close to like normal tempo. The highlight for me is the very anthemic sounding hook where these arpeggiated guitars lift up LiSA's voice almost, while a very nicely animated action anime thing goes on in the background. It's great. I'm gonna say B tier. The next opening is called Rising Hope, and it's from The Irregular at Magic High School, which is a terrible show in my opinion, but again, that's a topic for another video. But anyway, this one is weird because there's a lot I like about this opening, but it also has a lot which I think drags it down. It has these like borderline cringy rapping parts, which are like, okay, this is fine, but you're towing the line on how tacky it sounds. Then there's the hook, which is undeniably catchy, but it also feels like LiSA is just belting here or screaming instead of singing, which is one flaw that she has that at least is something I see as a flaw. The thing is, it has this pulse-pounding energy, and combined with the visuals, it feels very cinematic, very epic, but still for me, it's not LiSA's best showing, and not the best anime opening song in general, but it's still pretty good, so C tier. Next is Rally Go Round from Nisekoi, another Studio Shaft joint. Now, you might be wondering, LiSA doing a rom-com opening? That's ridiculous. Except when you actually go and listen to the opening, it's like, oh, I guess LiSA got the memo that she was doing a rom-com song, so she rom-commed it up. I don't know what that means, but apparently LiSA did, because she does it here. The song still has all of like the heavy punk elements that LiSA normally likes to use, like that big twangy metallic bass, the crazy drums and guitars, all that, but the songwriting itself is a lot more playful and cutesy, and LiSA kind of puts on a little bit more of a cutesy voice too. It sounds okay, LiSA sounds fine on it, but I actually don't like this opening that much. It has good elements, like the choir backing vocals that kind of do some call and response with LiSA, but I think the biggest thing is that this isn't really her best style of song, so the whole thing comes off as like awkward and disjointed. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is D tier, not the biggest fan personally, but you know, what can you do? Okay, now apparently she also did 2 OPs for Kaleidia Code. Well, I don't even know what this is, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen this show. The first one is called Brave Freakout, and I gave it a listen, and the first thing anyone would hear listening to this is the interesting Vocaloid effect at the beginning. So I don't know how y'all feel about Vocaloid, or I guess processed vocal effects in general, like auto-tune or whatever. I have a very like mild take on it. If it's done well, sounds great. If it's done poorly, it sounds like dog shit. Simple as that. In this opening, the Vocaloid effect sounds pretty good. I mean, it's not like it's a huge part. The rest of it is just like a normal LiSA song. I will say during the hook though, LiSA hits some really thick lower notes that have a lot of like punch to them. The melody was good, and the kind of processed bridge parts where there's like some sort of chanting or rapping, like here. The whole bit sounds embarrassingly dated and tacky, but for some reason it works within the song, right? The context of the song. And yeah, I don't know. I like this song, weirdly enough, just because it managed to blend the super processed electronic elements well with LiSA's more raw rock style. I'd actually give this a B. It's pretty good. The second OP from this show that I can't pronounce is Axis with 3 X's. Oh god, I don't even want to think about what that title means. So I listened to it. It was cool. So let me say this first. Obviously, when making this video, I had to listen to a bunch of LiSA songs in a row, right? And I mean, that would get tiring no matter what artist you listen to, but especially more so when it's a specific type of song chosen for a specific situation. In this case, LiSA songs chosen specifically to be anime openings. And I mean, you notice a lot of things, like some of the things I pointed out earlier in this video. And I gotta tell y'all, LiSA loves starting a hook with one really powerful note that she holds out. Like there's a run, and then she hits a high nasally note with a lot of vibrato to let y'all know, hey, the chorus is here. But man, it gets a little grating hearing it over and over again, opening after opening, but you know, I'm still trying to keep an objective mind here and not get LiSA fatigue. All that being said, I kind of like this opening too. The melody sounds very similar to Crossing Field, but like I said, that's pretty common in a lot of these LiSA openings. They have very similar song structures and melodies. But I love the energy, I love how melodic it is. LiSA sounds extra nasally in this one though, so it isn't the best, but I'm gonna still say B tier. Okay, next opening is another Fate one, this time from Fate Apocrypha, and it's called Ash. Let me hit y'all with another LiSA trope that she loves doing. She loves O sounds. Cause she can really dig into it, like oh, and like it then hit some heavy vibrato to make it resonate and hit. She does it in this opening, and it sounds very good. The thing is, okay, I have very mixed opinions towards Fate Apocrypha, which you can hear about once I eventually talk about it in my other series where I've watched every single Fate anime, shameless plug. It's not that I hate it, and it's not like I listen to this opening all biased because of how I feel towards the show, because I actually really like this OP, but I won't lie, I kind of raise my eyebrows every time I have to watch it because, whatever. We're not here to talk about that. The biggest highlight musically for me here is the production of the guitars. You know, they sound extra heavy, extra crunchy, even by LiSA standards. And there's also this great orchestration surrounding it. I mean, it's a Fate song, so it has to have some medieval orchestra sounding shit, right? I think LiSA should just do the music for every Fate series ever, because she just nails the feel of the franchise so well. I'm gonna say S tier, actually. This is one of my favorites. Okay, we got another Sword Art one. This one is from Alicization, and it's called Adamas. And I'm not gonna lie, I've seen this season of Sword Art, but for whatever reason, I don't remember this opening at all. So I rewatched it, and it turns out I do remember this opening. Because it sounds like every other opening on this list. No, but for real though, this is a pretty good one too. Not one of my favorites, but that's just because, like I said, I didn't even remember how it went. It has all the energy and catchiness of Crossing Field, so if you like that opening, there's no real reason you shouldn't like this. I guess you could say, you might even say that it's better because it adds like these elements like drum breaks. There's some cool moments with the backing vocals, and there's this great melodic moment here, which is a highlight for me. Very fun chord progression, love it. It sounds like something My Chemical Romance would do. Yeah, I don't know, I might say this is S tier actually. Yeah, S tier, why the fuck not? Okay, the next opening on here is from a very little known show. Most of you probably haven't even heard of this. It's called Kimetsu no Yaiba. I think in English it's called Devil Killer or Demon Hunter or something, I don't know, but the song is called Gurenge. Gurenge Lagan, I don't know. Have I made that joke before? Probably. So if Crossing Field is what LiSA was known for in the 2010s, Gurenge is probably what she's most known for nowadays, with all these new generations of young anime fans coming in who are like 14 and all the new fans that Demon Slayer pulled in. This was probably a lot of people's first introduction to a real anime-y sounding anime opening. It's crazy, we're really moving past the days when people's first anime would be something like Naruto or Bleach. Now there's a whole new generation that's gonna start off watching something like Demon Slayer or Attack on Titan, and this opening would be their sort of dipping their toe into the pool moment as far as being introduced to a good old LiSA banger. And to be fair, this is a pretty good one to start with. Gurenge sounds incredible, but it also sounds like every single song on this list. And again, that's to be expected because this is the type of LiSA track that they like to use for these anime openings. And you know, of course, this isn't me saying that this type of song is the only song LiSA is capable of making. I've listened to a couple of her studio albums, and she's perfectly capable of doing diverse music. Oh, also, side note, fun fact, if you look at all her studio albums, they all start with the letter L. I don't know, did she do that because it's, you know, LiSA, but I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny. Like, imagine if all of Kanye West's albums started with a K or something, but let me not get off track. I've talked about Gurenge before on this channel. I think way back on one of the earliest musician reacts to openings. You can go hear me dick ride this song. And if I remember, I was basically pointing out most of the same things that I was pointing out in the other songs on this list earlier in the video. All of the LiSA tropes that I've mentioned before are present on this song. You know, the big bombastic chorus, the quick syllable melodies, and the fifth interval stuff, her hitting the high soprano register. It's all here. It's like the LiSA benchmark. It checks everything off on the LiSA list. Now, obviously, a lot of the public adoration for this opening comes from the fact that people love Demon Slayer, and this is a hyped opening that gets you excited for a hype show. But thinking about it more, I think it's really interesting to think about this from a non-anime fan outsider perspective, right? Remember what I said, Demon Slayer was a lot of people's first anime in recent years, and I always love thinking about anime from the perspective of new fans, or like I said, outsiders. Demon Slayer popped off in the West because of word of mouth on social media. You know, a lot lot of famous people tweeted about, you know, the iconic episode 19. Oh my god, it's the craziest thing. Oh, this is the new Shonen Giant. And that kind of mainstream attention attracted people who have never watched anime before. Just the thought of some random person hearing about this Japanese show being the new hot craze, then they watch it and they see this LiSA opening, all that is just fascinating to me, because I thought this for a while too, you know, back when Attack on Titan came out, and even back when like One Piece was first popping off, and even way back when Evangelion first popped off. Like, what do normal people think of these things? I don't know, it's because new people's perspectives are always interesting to me. I think that's why a lot of popular reaction videos are like non-anime fan reacts to whatever for the first time, because it's interesting. But yeah, that's all a tangent. Gurenge is great, S tier. Okay, next one is called Dawn from the show Back Arrow, which I sure as fuck didn't watch, but I mean, it looks relatively interesting enough, I guess. Now this one is interesting because it kind of showcases the progression LiSA has made over the years, you know, at least for me, in terms of the songs picked for anime openings. You know, the recent ones have a lot more electronic production and a lot of EDM/Vocaloid elements to them. Like in this one, the beginning has like this heavy rock standard opening, but it has processed vocal chanting over it, and you have a digital Rode sounding keyboard, very delicate, very electronic sounding, and it's during the verse, right? I mean, I think it all sounds pretty great if you ask me. And then you get to the chorus, which starts with that signature heavy, long first note, like I mentioned before. It all sounds very LiSA. And if I had to pick a highlight of this, it's just how smooth the production is. You know, the instruments sound very stylish, all the way from how the keys are placed, all the way to how the guitars are mixed to sound like this cushy wave for LiSA's voice to sit on top of. Yeah, it's actually pretty fire, I'm not gonna lie. This is like an A tier. Okay, the final entry on this list is another one from Devil Slicer. It's called Akeboshi. This is also another one I've talked about before, and I think I was a bit harder on it back in that video, even though I gave it like a very positive 4 out of 5 rating or something. Y'all can go check it out if you want. But for this particular video, I think the fatigue of listening to the same type of LiSA song over and over again makes me appreciate that this one is a little bit different from the others. It's much more operatic and ballad sounding, with big sweeping vocals from LiSA instead of her usual high octane like bang 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 delivery. It's really nice to just sit back and listen and appreciate the versatility of her voice, you know, and obviously the songwriting is really good too. There's a really nice pretty melody, and it's surrounded by beautiful lush instrumentation. The highlight for me, again, I mentioned this in the video, but it's the part where she kind of walks down the scale. I don't know, I'm a sucker for whenever people do that in a song. Yeah, this one is great. I'm gonna say S tier too. So there you go, every LiSA anime opening that I could find. Thanks for watching. This was pretty fun to do, even though I was sick of hearing her voice by the end of it. Oh god. But real talk, it's interesting to see how certain artists just have captured a perfect sound that anime studios love using for their openings. Like the same can be said for a band like Kanamon or Amir and stuff like that, which, you know, hint hint, I might do this same type of video for those artists too. But yeah, like and subscribe, leave a comment about what your favorite LiSA opening is, and oh, there'll probably be a Homie Talks episode this week, but that's the video. Peace.